Welcome everyone. Another week, another new episode, another new topic, and one of the most waiting webinar, I guess, so far. We are going to talk about core, and we are going to talk about how to start contributing to WordPress core. We are going to talk with very simple and easy idea today, so that you can start from today before going to bed, I guess. So today we have Olga. She will introduce herself in details later, but I would like to request you all to stay till the end of the webinar, because we'll be talking about very good insights. WordPress 6.3 is coming, probably we'll talk about that as well. And today's webinar will be totally in English. Previously, our webinar will like in mixed Nepali English, but today it will be totally in English. If you have any questions, you can use the chat. And during the presentation, please don't unmute yourself. Please stay muted. When the presentation will be completed, we will have the open floor, and you can ask the question. We'll have discussion during that period. I don't want to take more time. I'd like to hand over this floor to Olga. Welcome, Olga. And floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. And thank you for inviting me. A short about myself. I started write sites from scratch more than 10 years ago. So I took like tough journey. And most of this time, I'm already working like a full-time as a developer. 4 years, I am already contributing to WordPress in pretty much consistent basis. And just recently, I got a sponsorship from Viglot, but it just happened, so I don't have any information even on my profile on WordPress yet. So right now, I am involved in release 6.3 and 6.4 as triage lead. I also maintainer for 2 companions, and still able to work full-time as a developer. This is a bit about me. I think you can like browse a bit more if you want to. So let's start with discussion about what is actually a core contribution, because WordPress project actually possibly, I don't know if I can share my screen already. Give me like a second. I can share a screen. Okay. So WordPress has a lot of WordPress project has a lot of teams, and 22 is listed here, and actually we have more, like patterns and security team are not present here. But the more inviting is, of course, contribution to core, to the main product we are shipping to all millions of sites each release, and which is used by millions of people. So this is actually why it keeps such attraction. And people are thinking that it's actually difficult to start because it's sort of like a job for developers. But it's not actually true, because you can contribute in many ways to core, and you don't have to be a developer. But of course, if you can develop or debug something, you can have advantages. So core contribution, we will discuss how easy to start. I actually wrote myself a bit of like support list, not to ramble about things like continuously. So let's start with actually firstly with why you want to contribute in the first place, because you have like you're main job, your family, your other hobbies, etc. But apart from contribution itself, like you are giving something, you are getting something back. It's for example, and possibly it's for some people it's most important is friendship. We have all here and we are sharing passion about the same things we care about, and we are assembling across around each other and making like good community. So some people are staying and contributing for the community, and it's like quite important reason. But apart from this, and apart from the knowledge that you can make an impact in such large scales, you are developing your own skills and you grow as a professional, and you can make actually a good points to your resume, because this is open source project and everything you are doing is open, and you can easily show this to your potential employer and your friends and your colleagues, and actually brag about this, that you did something. It can be small, but all contribution counts, because sometimes it's much more tougher actually and harder to change double equal to triple equal than to write quite a bunch of code, because this triple equal can lead to a like severe regression and side effects. So there's nothing about amount than an impact. You can like change a description of a button and make it much more usable for users, much more understandable, and change some behavior and experiences to the better. So you can start in many different directions and contribute, and everything counts. And Core and the whole WordPress project is trying to count everything to make it to proper credit people who are actually working and making these contributions. So we have like a lot of different ways, and I want to briefly discuss how you can contribute to Core. Some ways can like be more harder, some can be more easier for you to handle. For example, right now, Release Candidate was launched yesterday, and it's simplest thing you can do. Everyone can do it. Each WordPress user can do it, but of course you cannot test it. You should not test it on your working sites, something your company is making money from. You should test it on staging environment or your local machine. So, but it's quite easy. If you have already a WordPress version installed, you can install beta tester plugin, and from this plugin you can install Release Candidate or Night build version or other versions. And actually you can reinstall back then your previous version, stable one. So everyone can do it, and this way you can take part. And actually, if you are working for a company, for example, and company has staging environment, you can test this new coming version for your company to be sure that everything will be fine with your sites when you will be updating it on production. And if some plugins or theme or other parts of your site need like care and changes, you can address them in time. So you can contribute to WordPress and do your job at the same time, and everyone actually can like test it. Then, of course, you can report a bug. It's not. It's also not prerogative of a developer, because user has like bad experience with an interface. For example, there are some tickets for buttons have like big big distance between them, and it's not very comfortable for people to like jump in and out between buttons, for example. Yeah, or some menus are going like in wrong direction when you are changing width of your window, something like this. So these things can be picked up easily, even if you are user and you have no experience in development whatsoever. But of course, you need to create a ticket and make it properly. We will be talking about this a bit later. And of course, you can promote propose an idea. So if you think that something should be done and no one thought about this before, you can also create a ticket with enhancement or future requests and contribute this way. It's also concept contribution. But of course, sometimes people can be disappointed because they made something and no one is like caring about this, because we have a lot of tickets. We will talk about this a bit later also. And because we have like a lot of tickets, we can actually triage these tickets. Hopefully, I will be able to show you. Okay. This is a core track, which is used for tracking tickets. And like you see, we have more than 8,000 tickets already open, not closed. So it's a bit tough to look through all of them. And this is a main job of people who are doing triage. And as I told you already, that I am co-lead for 6.3 and 6.4 triage. And it's actually a big job. You need to look through tickets and put them like in right components, right focuses like keywords, like type, etc. And sometimes summary is not clear or description is not clear. And you actually can change the thing if you are like triaging. Different people like have like, different abilities in this. But the key point is that you can contribute and move things forward by looking through the tickets and see if it's like missing something or if it should be added something. I have like small instruction for this as well. So usually you can like ask yourself several questions. Does this ticket has correct component? For example, contribution focus. Someone is writing on a screen. Is issue is described clear, or we need like a reporter feedback what he's actually meant? Is there an actual patch, or we need to add certain keywords and like move this forward? For us, why it's like important? Because people are actually using these keywords to search through the whole thing. Like you cannot imagine to look through all of them. For example, if you add like good first bug keyword, you will get like much smaller amount of tickets, and you can look through them and see if you like can contribute on them. And I've told before that some things can be tested just visually, and you can test things for current release if you are looking through milestone current, and see if there are some tickets in work which is like need some additional work. For example, right now there will be reported some possibly regressions, and you need if you want like to contribute to this release, you can look through them and see if there are regressions and what is conditions of these regressions, etc. So this is like also an option, but the triage thing is more about putting the correct attributes to the ticket. And actually, I want you to show this ticket, something I can brag about. This is a ticket which was opened like 10 years ago. I'm a maintainer for this about page component. So 4 months ago, I started to like push this thing forward. And this ticket is still open, but because we need images added. But like you see, a lot of people wanted this to be done, and 10 years it was like no go. And when I started to push the thing forward, going to meetings, asking people, doing some drafts, I think, yeah, you can see that there was a lot of work. People catch up with this, and in the result, more than 40 people contributed to this new contribute tab, and there will be even more because designers are working on some images. So if a ticket is old, it should not stop you, and you can look through them and see if there are some treasures hidden and push things forward. It's also like a big job, and before this spring we had triage sessions especially for old tickets, but right now like we need a volunteer to do this, just to organize other people. You even don't need to be a developer, you just need to facilitate these meetings and look through these tickets with other people, with other developers. So this is triaging. This is about triage. You can also make screenshots like a part of your triaging, because sometimes people are describing things but not actually capturing what is happening. So sometimes it needs screenshots, sometimes it can be short video, and sometimes people are attaching screenshots from external sources, and later they are removing these screenshots and it isn't clear anymore what is actually happening. So taking these screenshots and placing them in a ticket, it's also like a big deal to move these tickets forward. Of course, you can design mockups if you are a designer, and there are some future requests and enhancement which require some design work. So even if you are not participating in a design team, you can suggest your ideas in visual as a representation. Of course, you can test patches, but I believe that we will have like a special session for this later. You can review code if you are a developer as well, write patches and update someone else's patches. I want to mention that if there is a patch, it doesn't mean that everything is done, because in most cases, patches can be obsolete, they need to be updated, and you like can look through them and take your part, and possibly it will be like easier to pick up someone else's work than to do something from scratch. And there are also things which are like more advanced, like writing unit tests or end-to-end tests, taking part in new default theme development. And actually it's a big also it's a big opportunity for you to learn, because there will be a lot of work and a lot of testing, and themes are usually quite like tough in all these small things, all these adjustments, and you can participate in the next release. and test these teams when they will be like almost ready, and there will be a lot of bugs for you to report, a lot. I can promise you. And of course, there are even more advanced things like become a component maintainer, lead triage sessions, but it's not actually very advanced, but you need to pick up some things. You can write documents which are going actually to the core itself, to the code, because, for example, each function or part of the code needs like a description, and it should be correct to the whole thing. And you can participate in writing documents outside of the core, like real documentation for WordPress.org. And actually, I have like an example. For example, when I looked through quick start guide for contributors, I found out that we have like several focuses missing. Someone can go to Meta and create a ticket to add these things here, to update the content. Possibly there are more things which should be like updated in this document. I can show you this, how it looks like. Of course, if you like serious about participation, you can look through this and find out more information, how practical overview, etc. But I will like discuss this a bit better later. So like you see, here is the focuses, and I found that some things are missing. So if you want, you can go to MetaTrack and check if there is a ticket to update this thing. So we discussed this one. So you need to go get familiar with release schedule. Why it's important? Because, for example, right now, when a release candidate is already launched, no fixes or enhancements are going to this release, apart from like some regression which has happened, and they will be handled as soon as possible, but everything else will be going to the next release. So if you are participating in some tickets, you made some testing, you should like have correct expectations, because if all people are like concentrating on this release, other tickets can be like delayed. And also, I will jump to the end of this small list. If you want like to see your name in release credit page and a badge in your profile, it will happen after release. So if you're participating in some ticket, you made something, it will count. Counted, but it will be counted when this version will be launched. So I want you to advise not to like pour your heart in one ticket, because sometimes it's very tough. When you did something significant, you made a lot of contribution, and then someone decided that it will not go because there are some side effects, and you can be very disappointed. So what I was telling is that if you want something to happen, you can go and write it down on this post about your next release wishes, because it's open source. And if you want something, you have like several options as well. You can like promote this and try to convince everyone else to follow this lead. You can do it by yourself, but still you need to promote this thing and try to convince people that this is worth doing in the first place. Because sometimes people are like making something, for example, they made a patch It can be simple one, it can be like very complicated, and no one is bothering about this. And people are like dissatisfied. I did such a like good work and no one is care about. But like you saw, we have more than 8,000 tickets. So it can be easily overlooked. What you should do, if this ticket has an owner is not a person who is actually supposed to work on this ticket, it's a person who's supposed to care about this ticket's further movement. You can ping this person on a ticket and attract his attention. If this ticket related to some component, you can ping this component maintainer or another one or several of them and bring their attention to this ticket. If you think it's worth doing, you should definitely do it. And of course, you can go to regular meetings and ask questions like, people, I've done this. Can you please test it? Can you please schedule it for the next release? I think it's like worth doing. You need like a bit pushing things forward. Otherwise, someone else should do it for you. Like like you saw with this old 10 years ticket, I took it and pushed it forward. It was hard at some point. And in the beginning, when I started to work on this content for this tab, people was very reluctant to help me. Yes, it was like a good idea. Go with it. But I think that not many people are believing that it's possible to make such a big difference, such big thing in an admin. But right now we are doing this, and more than 40 people participated, and I think it will be around 50 people. 50 people worked on this tab. I think from my involvement in original copy, it was like several words what was left, but I pushed this, and I think it's like main key. And you should like realize that what you've done cannot be perfect, and it cannot be improved, and it can like live through several iterations. So don't attach yourself to your copywriting skills or to your coding, what you've done. Just live and communicate with people. I think like it's very important not to attach yourself too much to what you've done and go forward. Something like this. I think I can possibly answer some questions if you have one. And I want also invite everyone who is interested to regular bi-weekly evening chats. But actually, it will be like a bit late for you. New contributors chats are before main dev chat in the evening, and it's quite late.